The internet didn't wake up to a normal headline on the morning of August 19, 2025. It woke up to a crime scene in the digital space. For years, the love and hip-hop universe has been fueled by the predictable cycles of infidelity and reconciliation. But what began circulating about Tamar Braxton and Mendeecees Harris wasn't just another rumor, it was a psychological collapse. According to circulating reports, the streets of Atlanta were buzzing with a story that sounded more like a thriller than a reality TV arc. It started with a late-night sighting at the V12 lounge, but it reportedly ended with Tamar Braxton being found in a pool of blood inside her own home. Fans are shocked because the details surfacing aren't just about a secret affair. They are about a night that allegedly went from a celebratory after-party to a near-fatal mystery. But as the blood dried, a second, even more malicious narrative began to take hold. A whisper campaign involving HIV reports and a medical fallout that threatened to destroy not just a marriage, but a woman's entire humanity. The shift in the room was reportedly instantaneous. While Mendeecees Harris was presenting an image of domestic stability with Yandy Smith on our screens, the chatter suggests he was actually navigating a secret life that finally collided with the Braxton legacy. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season captures the exact second the heir left the room when the first receipts surfaced, not of a kiss, but of a medical emergency. The talk grows louder that Tamar's alleged injuries, a fractured nose, lost teeth, and a total loss of mobility, were the physical manifestations of a night that spiraled out of control. But the real atmospheric horror isn't found in the physical trauma. It's found in the way the internet weaponized Tamar's own health advocacy. Fans are reanalyzing the moment Tamar publicly disclosed she was taking PrEP, realizing that her attempt to empower Black women's sexual health was being twisted by the gossip machine into a secret diagnosis, used to justify the destruction of the Harris-Smith union. What's being whispered is that the divorce everyone is talking about isn't a legal proceeding, but a total spiritual exit. In a shocking revelation from late December 2025, Mendeecees himself confirmed the big lie, that he and Yandy were never legally married. The shock of this admission didn't just hit the fans, it hit the very foundation of the power couple brand. Suddenly, the homewrecker labels thrown at Tamar became obsolete, replaced by a darker realization. The empire was already hollowed out. Emotions ran high as Tamar took to Instagram to demand "sorry money" via Cash App, flipping the script on a world that tried to bury her under a pile of medical misinformation and affair allegations. This is the final reckoning. A story of a woman who almost died in a pool of blood, a man whose 20-year marriage was a legal fiction, and a biohazard rumor that proved the internet is often more dangerous than the truth itself. The internet didn't just observe a headline on August 19, 2025. It entered a digital crime scene that refused to provide easy answers. To understand the gravity of what happened to Tamar Braxton, you have to look past the gossip and into the terrifying timeline of that Sunday night. The chatter suggests that what began as a high-energy night at Atlanta's V12 lounge, a playground for the city's elite, ended in a house of horror. According to reports, Tamar was seen in high spirits, moving through the crowd with a presence that felt like a return to her love and war prime. But the shift in the energy happened at 1 o'clock. Witnesses claim that the air in the club changed when Tamar was allegedly seen leaving the venue with Mendeecees Harris. Fans are shocked because this wasn't just a sighting. It was a ghost-like exit that left everyone wondering where the night was headed. The atmospheric tension of that moment is now being reanalyzed by every internet detective in the city, looking for the second the Queen of the Braxtons went from being the life of the party to a woman fighting for her life. The details that surfaced in the following hours were nothing short of a psychological thriller. A shocking Instagram post, which was deleted almost as quickly as it was uploaded, served as the primary evidence of a night gone horribly wrong. In that post, a voice, raw and broken, allegedly detailed a discovery that would haunt her fans. "I almost died Sunday. I was found in a pool of blood, with a face injury." The reports suggest that when Tamar was found by a friend, she wasn't just injured. She was unrecognizable. A fractured nose, lost teeth, and a total loss of mobility. This wasn't a scuffle or a minor accident. This was a catastrophic physical event. The chatter suggests that the pool of blood wasn't just a metaphor for her pain, but a literal, terrifying reality that had been left behind in the silence of her home. People close to the situation claim that Tamar didn't even know what happened to her. creating a vacuum of information that the gossip machine was more than happy to fill with the most malicious theories imaginable. The focus of the digital backlash immediately shifted to those who were in the room that night, specifically targeting blogger Funky Dinver. The chatter suggests that the atmospheric betrayal began when Dinver, who was reportedly at the club with Tamar, failed to offer a clear explanation of how his friend ended up in a pool of blood just hours later. Fans are shocked by the coldness of the silence that followed. Instead of a unified front of protection, the internet saw a series of defensive statements and Cash App requests that made the tragedy look like a transaction. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season of The Braxtons explores this specific sense of isolation, the feeling of being surrounded by friends who are actually spectators to your destruction. The realization that you can be found in a pool of blood and have the world ask for receipts before they ask for your health is the darkest part of this chapter. It wasn't just a physical injury. It was a total collapse of her safe space. What's being whispered now is that the Mendeecees Harris factor was the catalyst for the entire night's descent into chaos. While Tamar's team later claimed he was simply the leading man in her new project, Heartbreak Retrograde, the streets were telling a different story. The chatter suggests that the cozy vibes at the club weren't for the cameras, but for a real-life connection that Yandy Smith was allegedly already tracking. Emotions ran high as people speculated that Tamar had been set up or jumped because of her proximity to a man who was supposed to be the pillar of another woman's empire. The atmospheric shift in the narrative moved from accident to ambush with terrifying speed. Was the pool of blood a message? Was the fractured nose a price for a night of sneaking and dealing? This is where the frustration for the viewers begins. The sense that a woman's life was nearly ended over a reality TV storyline that turned into a real-world tragedy. The psychological toll of this incident is being described by insiders as a mental journey that Tamar is only beginning to navigate. According to reports, the upcoming episodes show a woman who is physically and mentally weak, struggling to find the words to explain a night that she can't even remember. The pool of blood has become a symbol of her vulnerability, a reminder that in the world of Atlanta royalty, your status can be stripped away in a single night. Fans are connecting dots they didn't even notice before, looking at Tamar's previous posts about her health and realizing that she was already on the edge. The chatter suggests that the HIV reports that surfaced later were part of a coordinated effort to finish what the physical attack started, to ensure that even if she survived the pool of blood, she wouldn't survive the court of public opinion. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because the leading man defense didn't hold up under the weight of the digital receipts. If Mendeecees was just a co-star, why was he seen entering her home at 2 o'clock am? Why was the atmosphere between them described as suspicious by every witness in the building? The upcoming season reportedly doesn't shy away from these questions, showing the friction between the Braxton family's protective instincts and Tamar's desire to keep her private life in the shadows. Nothing has been officially confirmed as a crime, but the noise keeps growing. And when a woman is found in a pool of blood with a fractured nose and missing teeth, freak accident isn't a word that anyone is willing to accept. The truth is somewhere in the silence of that Sunday night, and as the blood dries, the brand of the Braxtons is being rewritten in the most painful ink possible. The shift in the atmospheric reality of the love and hip-hop universe didn't just happen. It was detonated on December 24, 2025. For nearly 2 decades, Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris were the undisputed power couple of the franchise, a symbol of loyalty that survived prison stints, long-distance separation, and relentless rumors. But as the clock struck midnight on Christmas Eve, Mendeecees sat down for a radio interview on Streets 94.5 and delivered a blow that rewritten 10 seasons of television history. He confirmed what many had whispered but none had proven. He and Yandy were never legally married. Fans are shocked because this wasn't just a breakup. It was the revelation of a big lie that had been maintained for the cameras while the legal reality remained a blank page. According to circulating reports, the elaborate 2015 televised wedding, a $1 million production filled with tears and vows, was for entertainment purposes only. The chatter suggests that the architecture of this deception was a calculated business move, a financial fortress designed to protect Yandy's rising empire from Mendeecees' mounting legal fines and restitution. Mendeecees explained that the idea came from Yandy herself, who reportedly told him, "Let's not sign the papers." He admitted that even when they had a second ceremony, they intentionally left the marriage license unfiled. People close to the situation say this revelation changes the entire weight of the homewrecker accusations thrown at Tamar Braxton. If there was no legal marriage, and Mendeecees confirmed they had been separated for over a year, then the narrative of Tamar destroying a home begins to look like a house of cards. The atmospheric tension of the interview was described as relieved, as if Mendeecees was finally stepping out from under the shadow of a performance he was tired of playing. The kind of change you notice when a 20-year facade is stripped away is how it reframes the past. Sources close to the production claim that every reconciliation and vow renewal we saw on screen is now being looked at as a script rather than a heartbeat. Emotions ran high as fans realized that the united front was a legal strategy to prevent his millions in court-ordered fines from draining her bank accounts. The reports suggest that by never signing that paper, Yandy ensured her boutiques, her skincare lines, and her real estate remained separate property. The chatter suggests that this is why there is no messy divorce happening now, because there is no legal entity to dissolve. They aren't splitting assets, they are simply ending a 20-year co-parenting agreement. The realization that their loyalty was based on an unfiled document is being described as the ultimate reality TV betrayal. What's being whispered is that the timing of this confession was no accident. By revealing the truth on Christmas Eve, just weeks after the Tamar Braxton pool of blood incident, Mendeecees effectively provided himself with an alibi for the court of public opinion. He wasn't cheating on his wife, he was a single man who had been separated for over a year. The chatter suggests that the big lie served its purpose until the moment the rumors became too loud to manage. For Yandy, however, the fallout has been more atmospheric and subtle. She reportedly responded with cryptic Instagram posts, mentioning that she finally understands the difference between people who love her and people who love what she can do for them. The shift in her energy is being described as a quiet, graceful retreat, as she realizes that the man she spent 20 years protecting just dismantled the very story she used to build her fame. The psychological toll on the fans is significant. Many feel like they were duped into investing in a fairy tale that was actually a corporate arrangement. The upcoming episodes of The Braxtons and Love and Hip Hop are rumored to explore this identity crisis. How do you continue as a boss chick when the foundation of your personal life was a legal fiction? According to reports, the marriage of fiction was the ultimate protective layer, but it left the people inside it feeling hollow. Mendeecees' admission that they simply couldn't get on the same page after 20 years sounds more like a contract expiration than a heartbreak. The narrative suggests that the upcoming season doesn't offer a neat resolution, but instead lets the viewers sit with the discomfort of two people who realized their biggest achievement was a lie that eventually outlived its usefulness. As the talk about the non-marriage grows louder, the focus has shifted to the legacy of their children. How do you explain to your family that the wedding they watched on TV wasn't real in the eyes of the state? The chatter suggests that this is the real atmospheric tragedy, not the loss of the money, but the loss of the truth. Mendeecees' relief at avoiding a legal battle over assets is being seen by some as pragmatic, but by others as cold. The story, according to the whispers, is that the Frosts and the Harrises are two sides of the same coin, one staying for the money in silence, and the other leaving the marriage because the paperwork never existed. Nothing is tied up with a bow. The questions about the future of their blended family remain, and the uncertainty of what was real and what was real is exactly what's keeping the fans talking. The big lie is out, and the power couple of Atlanta has officially been declared a work of fiction. This is part 3 of your documentary script. It focuses on the biohazard lie, how Tamar Braxton's courageous sexual health advocacy was weaponized by the internet to create a devastating and false narrative about her health. The atmospheric shift from scandal to biohazard happened in the spring of 2025, but its ripples are still tearing through the legacy of the Braxton family in 2026. To understand the cruelty of the digital age, you have to look at the exact moment Tamar Braxton decided to be brave. In March 2025, Tamar sat before the world and shared a deeply personal truth. As a single woman re-entering the dating scene in Atlanta, she had started taking PrEP pre-exposure prophylaxis. Fans were initially shocked not by the revelation but by the transparency. According to reports, Tamar's goal was to empower Black women, who represent over 50% of new HIV diagnoses despite being only 13% of the population. But the chatter suggests that in the hands of malicious gossip blogs and anonymous keyboard warriors, this act of empowerment was twisted into a weapon of mass destruction. The biohazard lie was born, a false narrative that Tamar wasn't preventing an illness, but hiding one. The kind of change you notice when a health disclosure is weaponized is a chilling descent into misinformation. People close to the situation say that Tamar's partnership with Gilead Sciences and her appearances at the 2025 Essence Festival were meant to be her safe and sexy era. She was vocal, she was proud, and she was clinical. But the reports suggest that the moment the Mendeecees-Harris affair rumors hit the timeline, the receipts of her health advocacy were repurposed as evidence of a medical crisis. The chatter suggests that because she spoke about HIV prevention, the internet decided she was the source of a biohazard. This is the atmospheric horror of the situation. A woman who tried to save lives through education was suddenly being blamed for destroying a marriage with a biological threat that didn't even exist. The frustration for the viewers is the realization that the more Tamar fought for the truth, the more the lie seemed to grow. Sources familiar with the upcoming season of the Braxtons claim that the psychological toll of this medical fallout was even more damaging than the pool of blood incident. There are rumored to be scenes where Tamar confronts the irony of her situation, that her advocacy became the very thing used to dehumanize her. The chatter suggests that the HIV reports circulating on TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, were part of a coordinated smear campaign designed to paint Tamar as a dangerous outsider in the Atlanta social circle. It wasn't just a rumor, it was a digital branding of a woman as damaged goods. Emotions ran high as fans reanalyzed her Essence Festival panel, where she joked about catching vibes, not viruses, realizing that her humor was being used as a confession in the court of public opinion. The atmospheric shift in the narrative moved from Tamar is dating to Tamar is a health risk, with a speed that left her legal team scrambling. The psychological warfare reached its peak in the fall of 2025, when the pool of blood mystery was intentionally linked to her health status. The chatter suggests that anonymous sources tried to claim the physical trauma she suffered, the fractured nose and missing teeth, was the result of a confrontation over her medical secrets. This is where the story becomes a tragedy of misinformation. According to reports, the biohazard lie was so pervasive that it began to affect her professional life, with brands and collaborators reportedly pausing their relationships with the singer. The realization that her own advocacy was being used to bankrupt her career is being described as the most isolating experience of her 20-year journey. She wasn't just fighting a gossip blog. She was fighting a biological stigma that has plagued the Black community for generations. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because Tamar refused to back down. While the power couple of Yandy and Mendeecees was crumbling under the weight of their own legal fictions, Tamar was reportedly leaning into her role as a health champion. She didn't stop talking about PR-ep. She talked about it louder, but the atmospheric tension remained. Friends of the family claim that the Braxtons were divided on how to handle the noise, some wanting to sue the blogs into oblivion, while others, like Tamar, wanted to use the moment to further the conversation. The upcoming season reportedly doesn't shy away from this friction, showing the raw, unedited reaction of a woman who realized that in 2026, the truth is often less believable than a well-crafted lie. The final reckoning of the biohazard lie is a reminder that in the world of Atlanta royalty, your most noble acts can be turned into your most shameful secrets if the narrative isn't in your hands. The chatter suggests that Tamar's demand for sorry money was her way of reclaiming her agency from a world that tried to define her by a medical status she didn't even have. Nothing is tied up with a bow. The stigma remains, and the rumors continue to circulate in the dark corners of the internet. But as the new season approaches, the sense that something permanent has shifted is unavoidable. Tamar Braxton isn't just a reality star or a singer anymore. She is a survivor of a digital assassination attempt. The biohazard lie failed to destroy her marriage, because the marriage she was accused of breaking was already a lie, but it succeeded in showing the world exactly how far the gossip machine will go to protect a storyline at the expense of a human life. The shift in the atmospheric energy of this scandal moved from tragedy to triumph on the morning of January 2, 2026. After months of being the subject of homewrecker, labels, biohazard rumors, and the terrifying pool of blood mystery, Tamar Braxton didn't just break her silence, she issued a digital invoice to the world. According to circulating reports, the Love and War singer took to her Instagram stories to declare that she was officially accepting all apologies, but with a catch that left the internet stunned. She posted her Cash App handle alongside a tongue-in-cheek price list for the defamation she had endured. Fans are shocked because this wasn't just a witty clapback, it was a psychological turning point. For a woman who had been found bloodied and broken just months prior, the Sorry Money campaign was a signal that the victim era was over, and the era of the hardened survivor had begun. The chatter suggests that this move was a strategic play to humiliate her detractors by putting a literal dollar value on their lies. The kind of change you notice when a person stops defending themselves and starts demanding compensation is a chilling shift in power. People close to the situation say that Tamar's legal team, led by high-powered attorneys, had already been quietly issuing cease and desist orders to major bloggers, including Funky Dinver. Sources close to the production claim that the upcoming season of The Braxtons explores the behind-the-scenes legal warfare that preceded the Cash App post. There are rumored to be scenes where Tamar sits with her lawyers, reviewing the digital footprints of those who spread the HIV reports and the Mendeecees affair lies. The chatter suggests that the Sorry Money post was the public-facing side of a very private and very aggressive legal strategy. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the accountability. By asking for apology payments, Tamar was effectively telling the world that her reputation is an asset that can no longer be vandalized for free. What's being whispered is that the Sorry Money era has created a new culture of fear among Atlanta's gossip elite. For years, bloggers have operated with a sense of commentary immunity, but Tamar's approach, blending legal threats with public shaming, has reportedly left many re-evaluating their content. The chatter suggests that since the post, several prominent influencers have quietly deleted their videos regarding the Mendeecees affair. Fans are connecting dots between the timing of Mendeecees' Christmas Eve confession, that he was single and never legally married, and Tamar's sudden surge in confidence. The realization that she was right all along gave her the leverage to turn her trauma into a brand. Emotions ran high online as supporters flooded her Cash App, not just to pay for their mistakes but to sponsor her piece. This atmospheric shift is being described as a digital reparations movement, where a black woman in the public eye is finally refusing to carry the weight of a lie without a receipt. The psychological toll of this transition is being described as a rebirth of the ego. According to reports, the upcoming episodes show a version of Tamar that is more guarded, more clinical, and significantly less interested in playing nice with the industry. The pool of blood incident, which left her with a fractured nose and missing teeth, is rumored to be the moment she lost her softness. People close to the situation say that when you almost die and the world asks for a DNA test instead of an ambulance, you don't come back as the same person. The Sorry Money era is the armor she has built to protect the new version of herself. Producers didn't need to create a villain arc. They just had to film the reality of a woman who has realized that in the world of reality TV, your only true friend is your lawyer. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because the Sorry Money wasn't just for the bloggers. It was a message to Mendeecees and Yandy as well. By demanding payments for being called a homewrecker, she was indirectly pointing out that the home in question was a legal fiction. The chatter suggests that the upcoming season features a tense, off-camera, exchange where Tamar refuses to film with anyone associated with the Harris Smith drama until an official apology is issued. This internal conflict reportedly adds a layer of gravity to the show's production, as the cast is forced to navigate Tamar's new zero-tolerance policy. The narrative suggests that the season doesn't offer a neat resolution, but instead lets the audience witness the birth of a woman who is no longer willing to be the sacrificial lamb for someone else's storyline. As the talk about the Sorry Money grows louder, the atmosphere among her sisters is said to be one of cautious support. The Braxton family has always been protective, but the chatter suggests that even they were surprised by the boldness of the Cash App move. According to reports, Tamar Braxton has been a pillar of logic during this time, helping Tamar navigate the legal complexities of her defamation suits. The shift didn't come from a loud argument. It came from the quiet, methodical filing of paperwork. The final reckoning of this chapter is a reminder that in 2026, the best way to handle a lie isn't to shout over it, but to tax it. Tamar Braxton isn't just accepting apologies. She is auditing the truth, and according to the growing noise, the bill for the last 6 months of her life is finally due. The atmospheric shift from victim of a scandal to author of a legacy was completed on November 7, 2025. While the gossip blogs were still dissecting the pool of blood mystery and the biohazard lie, Tamar Braxton did something the industry didn't expect. She went silent, went into the studio, and emerged with Heartbreak Retrograde. This wasn't just an EP, it was a 19-minute visceral response to the trauma of the previous 6 months. According to circulating reports, the project was released via Platform Sounds and marked her first major body of work in 8 years. Fans are shocked because the music isn't just about heartbreak, it's about the retrograde, the chaotic backward motion of life that forces you to confront every shadow you tried to outrun. The chatter suggests that the lead single, You on You, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Adult R&B charts, was a direct message to those who tried to dismantle her name while she was physically at her weakest. The kind of change you notice when an artist uses their pain as a forensic tool is a chilling sense of honesty. People close to the situation say that the recording sessions for tracks like 4 AM and Safer were described as exorcisms. Sources close to the production claim that Heartbreak Retrograde serves as the soundtrack to a 45-minute self-released movie that premiered on Halloween 2025. In this film, Tamar reportedly blends dramatic reenactments with candid, soul-bearing conversations. The atmospheric horror of her pool of blood experience is whispered to be woven into the visual narrative, showing a woman who had to lose her voice and several of her teeth to find her true sound. The chatter suggests that the movie features cameos from the very people at the center of the storm: her mother Evelyn, her ex-husband Vincent Herbert, and even Mendeecees Harris himself. The inclusion of Mendeecees in her creative world, while his marriage to Yandy was publicly dissolving, is being described as the ultimate power move, a sign that Tamar wasn't just involved in his story. She was the one directing the final act. What's being whispered is that the song Safer is the psychological centerpiece of her new era. In it, Tamar reflects on the comfort she once felt and the vulnerability of realizing that no place and no person is truly safe. The chatter suggests that this track was written during the weeks she struggled with her mobility and her fractured nose. Fans are connecting the lyrics to the biohazard lie, noting how she uses the music to reclaim her safe and sexy identity from the people who tried to make her dangerous. Emotions ran high online as viewers watched the movie, seeing Tamar's fractured face and hearing her raw vocals. The atmospheric shift in the show moved from entertainment to testimony. This is the musical rebirth, a moment where the boss chick and the Braxton Queen merged into a single hardened entity that no longer seeks validation, but demands respect. The story, according to the whispers, stays complicated because the album didn't just target her enemies, it challenged her family. The upcoming season of The Braxtons reportedly shows the friction caused by Tamar's decision to air the Pool of Blood incident so vividly in her film. Some family members were reportedly concerned that she was re-traumatizing herself for the sake of the art. But those familiar with the situation say that for Tamar, the music was the only way to bleach the stains of the rumors. By putting the trauma on a Billboard charting track, she converted a scandal into royalty payments. The narrative suggests that the 2026 tour, including the It's All Because of You experience with Marks Houston and Sammy, is her victory lap. She isn't hiding from the pool of blood anymore, she is performing on top of it. As the talk about Heartbreak Retrograde grows louder, the industry is beginning to treat Tamar with a new sense of reverence. She is no longer just a reality star who sings, she is a survivor who documents. According to reports, the project has been described by critics as her most nuanced and grown-up take on love and sex since Love and War. The shift didn't come from a marketing campaign. It came from the reality of a woman who almost died and decided that if she was going to survive, she was going to do it loudly. The Sorry Money era and the retrograde era are two sides of the same coin. The legal and the lyrical defense of a woman who was tired of being the world's favorite punching bag. The final reckoning of this chapter is a reminder that in Atlanta, you can survive anything if you can find the right melody for it. Tamar Braxton didn't just survive the affair allegations, the legal fictions of the Harris marriage, or the malicious health rumors, she archived them. The upcoming year is rumored to be her most active yet, with tour dates spanning from Georgia to California. Nothing is tied up with a bow, the physical and mental scars of that Sunday night remain. But as the retrograde ends and the new year begins, the sense that Tamar has finally reclaimed her throne is unavoidable. She found herself in a pool of blood, but she rose in a sea of applause, And according to the growing noise, the Queen of the South has never been more dangerous or more divine. The shift in the landscape of Atlanta reality royalty has reached its terminal point. As we stand in January 2026, the ruins of the power couple, myth, and the rebirth of Tamar Braxton have created a new, cold reality. The chatter suggests that the final episodes of this saga aren't about shouting matches, but about the high cost of maintaining a lie for 20 years. For Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris, the big lie, the revelation that their iconic 2015 wedding was a legal fiction, has effectively ended an era of television. Fans are shocked because the very man they watched fight for his family admitted on Christmas Eve that the paperwork was never signed to protect bank accounts from legal fines. This forensic honesty has stripped the homewrecker label away from Tamar Braxton, leaving the public to realize that the home she was accused of destroying was a corporate structure that had been hollow for years. The energy surrounding Tamar Braxton as she prepares for her All Because of You experience tour in April 2026 is described as reclaimed. According to reports, the Pool of Blood mystery, the night she was found with a fractured nose and missing teeth, became the catalyst for her most authentic era yet. The upcoming season of The Braxtons reportedly chronicles her mental journey from the bathroom floor to the Billboard charts. The atmospheric tension of her new music, particularly the track Safer, serves as a haunting reminder of how fragile safety is when your life is lived for an audience. The chatter suggests that Tamar has finally stopped asking for permission to be herself. Her Sorry Money movement wasn't just about Cash App payments. It was a psychological audit of every person who chose a viral lie over a human truth. What's being whispered is that the biohazard lie, the weaponization of Tamar's PR advocacy, has backfired on her accusers. Instead of destroying her, it forced a global conversation about Black women's health that Tamar is now leading. Sources close to the production claim that her 45-minute film, Heartbreak Retrograde, has become a cult classic for those who have survived digital assassination attempts. The inclusion of Mendeecees Harris in that film, while he was publicly splitting from Yandy, is being hailed as the ultimate plot twist. It suggests that while the world was fighting over a cheating scandal, Tamar and Mendeecees were actually collaborating on the soundtrack of their own liberation. The atmospheric shift moved from a scandal to a masterclass in narrative control, proving that in Atlanta, the person who tells the story first wins, but the person who tells the truth lasts forever. The internet didn't just witness a celebrity breakup, it witnessed the death of the reality TV fairy tale. From the Pool of Blood, in August 2025 to the no marriage confession in December, the layers of deception have been peeled back to reveal a simple, uncomfortable truth. Loyalty is often just a brand, and forever is sometimes just a contract. We've watched Tamar Braxton transform her trauma into a Billboard #3 hit, while Yandy and Mendeecees navigated a divorce that required no lawyers because it never officially existed. Now we want to hear from you. After seeing the receipts, the legal fictions, and the musical rebirth, where do you stand? Is Tamar Braxton the ultimate survivor of a smear campaign, or was the Heartbreak Retrograde just a clever way to mask a messy reality? And what do you think about Yandy and Mendeecees' strategic non-marriage? Was it a boss move or a betrayal of the fans? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more deep-dive forensic analyses into the real stories behind the reality TV headlines, hit the like button and subscribe. We are tracking the 2026 tour dates and the fallout of the Braxton legal suits in real time. Don't just watch the show, understand the game. Turn on those notifications because in this circle, the truth is the most dangerous thing you can own.